For me, I started writing music when I was 9.
I don't like going into something. See, when I came in the music industry, I didn't want to lose.
The International University of Management, a Namibian university dedicated to its people's future, a hub of abundant opportunities.
We are IUM for life. We are IUM.
Good evening, I'm Nason Marenga. In the news tonight, road accidents, fatalities declined significantly during festive season. Kawandenge says MPs deserve the new iPhones. Student drops out of varsity due to funding. Agriculture Ministry seeks to revive northern abattoirs. And Business on One, Comments Corner, Sport and the weather. The Minister of Works and Transport, John Mutora, stated that road accidents have declined by 15%, while fatalities decreased by 45% compared to the previous festive season. Mutora described this as a remarkable achievement for stakeholders in the road safety fraternity. The minister made these remarks during the launch of the 2022-23 Festive Road Safety Campaign report.
The minister said a total of 324 road crashes were recorded in the 2022-2023 period compared to 384 during the previous festive season. He added that 54 fatalities were recorded in the just ended festive season compared to against 98 during the previous year.
Motor vehicle accidents, crashes, and the resultant injuries declined by about 15%, whilst fatalities went down by around 45%. This is now compared to the last season. In further looking at these above-mentioned results, it is worth to note that 324 road crashes were recorded last festive season, 2022-23, as compared to 384 during the previous one. So there's a reduction there. During the previous festive season, in relation to injuries, 633, that's the figure that's given here, as compared to 746. Now, we are mentioning statistics, but it's important also then to say, yes, in as much that it is a improvement, but life, you cannot quantify life.
Despite the decline in road fatalities, 960 drivers were arrested for driving under the influence of alcohol during the festive season. Namibia Police Deputy Inspector General for Operations, Major General Elias Mutota, said it is worrisome that road users are influenced by the presence of law enforcement officials and need to be regulated and policed all the time in order for them to follow traffic laws.
As road users, we must really change our attitude, work toward improving our characters in complying with the law regarding road usage. In bringing about a positive mindset on our national road, we must take individual and collective steps as motorists in ensuring road safety in our country.
Mutotwa further said that traffic surveillance and law enforcement activities have a significant impact on compliance from road users, but urged all Namibians to follow the traffic laws and achieve zero road accidents.
Great deals from Choppies. Choppies, great deals for your money.
The National Unity Democratic Organization, NUDO's Secretary General Joseph Kawandenge stated that Namibians should not be concerned that members of parliament received new mobile phones as part of their benefits. Kawandenge, who is a member of parliament, claimed that lawmakers have been considerate of the economic hardship facing the country and did not enjoy the package due to them.
Kawandenge stated that members of parliament deserve their packages just like any other officials, adding that it is the right call to equip MPs with new gadgets as the mobile phones are a necessity for them to execute their duties successfully.
When the president of this country, the ministers and the deputy ministers, and the permanent secretaries and the deputy directors and the directors in our government, when they took office, their condition of services were non-negotiable. They were employed, they came into office, they got what they should get. The iPads, the iPhones, the whatever. At that time when the economy was not even doing better. So at least Namibians should take their heads off for the members of parliament, backbencher as they are, that at least they had considerations for the economical meltdown at the time, and we did not get this at that time. But again, the question is, but man, members of parliament, you are paid enough money so you can afford your own phones and digits. Maybe that's another question altogether. But I'm not defending the allocation of cell phones and whatever to members of parliament. All what I'm trying to paint is a picture that is not in the public domain. It's like we woke up last year in December, and as members of parliament we decided just to buy. But that's not the case. This is coming for 3 years up to now. Now, should we say only that amount that is spent in parliament should be spent as change to address the social evils of our country? Or should we just do away with all the cell phones and digits across all offices of government? From the president, the ministers, the deputies, the SOCs, the chief executive officer. So that's another debate altogether.
Kawandenge added that the public are quick to criticize and they have a wrong impression about public office barriers.
I don't know about other parliamentarians, but for my part, I'm a very resourceful person, and I always do my homework research on the phone. But I think you have to look at it in a broader context of condition of services attached to your office. And I actually said this morning, or yesterday, yes, on one of the platforms where I am, that Namibians, we are just hypocrites, all of us. We are. Because if you are in my position as a member of parliament and you are given the same perks as me, will you refuse them? I know that Namibians are fed up. Politicians are using and misusing taxpayers' money. We are headless people because we are really not in tune with the suffering of our people on the ground. That's a perception created outside there, but I don't think so. But to justify it, it's very hard for a person that is hungry. But if you look into the bigger scheme of things, and I'm being one of the honest politicians ever in this country, I will tell you what I think. The reasoning behind it, you like it, you don't like it, but that's my view.
Kawandenge concluded that it is hard to justify the reason behind the allocation of iPhones and Samsung smartphones to MPs, as the public are fed up with the way the country's resources are misused.
Dreams of a 26-year-old student to uplift his family from poverty are on hold as he dropped out of university due to funding. Herman Nangwasha was a second-year Business Information System student at the International University of Management, IUM, but dropped his studies as his grandmother, the sole provider, is unable to cater to his needs.
Nangwasha, who aspires to be a system analyst, owes IUM 15,000 Namibian dollars. The self-funded student, who resides in Windhoek's Havana informal settlement, dropped out of varsity because his grandmother, who is based in the northern part of the country, can no longer fund his studies. Nangwasha explained that one of the reasons he finds himself in financial difficulties is because of the removal of some courses, including Business Information System, from the Ongwediva campus where he was initially studying. This forced him to relocate to Windhoek, away from his family, to continue his studies. But with the high cost of living in the city, compounded with the grandmother's inability to help him, it is difficult to survive.
I'm having a financial difficulty with paying my studies because I cannot afford. And actually, I'm from Shikuku, Ugongwampanda constituency in Omsari region. And in Lord for this course since 2021. Then I dropped out because of financial challenge. Then I now want to continue with my studies. English by an old granny, she cannot afford to pay for my studies. That's why I'm looking for this kind of assistance. This is just a place for somebody else. However, if the person just agreed for us to stay here while we are pushing our studies.
When asked about his parents, Nangwasha told News on One that they are unemployed. The young man has been looking for employment to raise money to pay for the outstanding tuition fees, but it has not been an easy task.
I've been trying to get for a job, but I didn't get because I can remember this one man. He called me to be assisting him in certain jobs. Then he promised me some money, but in the end he never gave me those monies.
IUM's Director of Marketing, Communication and Stakeholders Engagement, Jerry Munyama, refuted claims that said the course was cancelled. Munyama stated that a decision was taken to transform the Ongwediva campus to the Center of Excellence for Education. Munyama said in a notice shared with students on 20 September 2021, they were informed that all students at the Ongwediva campus who were pursuing courses in programs other than education will be allowed to continue while those programs are being phased out.
What's going on?
What did I do to deserve this from you of all people?
You need to stop fighting my battles for me.
People can't know that we're meeting up. It could ruin things for us.
For us? Get out.
The Minister of Agriculture, Water and Land Reform, Kalle Schledwein, said the ministry is taking over 4 dysfunctional abattoirs situated in the northern communal areas. Schledwein said these facilities have not been operational for the past year. They are the Rundu, Enana, Oshakati and Utapi abattoirs.
The minister said the Katima Mulilo abattoir is the exception because it has been slaughtering for both local consumption and export. Schledwein stated that Meatco, being the largest abattoir available to both commercial and communal livestock farmers, is failing in its duty to support the communal farmers. The minister described Midco as a limping organization which is currently in the intensive care unit, and the ministry will consider diverting funds set aside for Midco to the direct support of communal and small-scale farmers, as well as the refurbishment of idle abattoirs.
In the communal sectors, we have taken over a number of abattoirs, that's as the ministry, and we will look for partners to run them under our supervision. Midco as the biggest abattoir has to a certain extent failed the farmers, and they have taken other initiatives. They have now taken it in their own hand and they are developing their own abattoirs. Up front, I dare say that there comes a time when we have to take a decision, and it's a hard decision, whether those resources that we are putting into that limping organization, whether they are well spent, or whether we should not use some of it at least to support farmers.
Schledwein said the ministry has efficiently dealt with annual cattle vaccinations, availing more than 1 million cattle to the market. He further explained that this is the efficiency that registers Namibia as the only African country that is certified to export beef to Europe, the US, China, Angola, and Ghana, among other African countries. Schledwein added that with this large number of premium beef and low availability of functional abattoirs, farmers have taken matters into their own hands when it comes to slaughtering their animals.
The abattoirs in the north, with the exception of the abattoir in Katima Mulilo, stopped slaughtering. There's nothing happening there, nothing. So farmers were forced to do it all by themselves. Slaughter under the tree, sell piece by piece. And that is not what an efficient support system is designed to do. No, it's wrong. It went dreadfully wrong. Half of our cattle in the north sits without a market. The Katima Mulilo abattoir is supplying Pintuk with meat, is supplying Ghana with meat, is supplying the north with meat where there is no abattoir.
Ministry of Finance Technical Economic Advisor Penda Ithindi reiterated that the Katima Mulilo abattoir is in the highest disease risk zone in the country, yet it not only produces the meat but also gets it market ready. Ithindi said this is indicative that the revival of other abattoirs is possible.
If you were to set out to do a pilot work in terms of how do you actualize commodity-based trade, maybe you would go to an area that is a little bit easy, but we went to the hardest of it infected zone, but we are able to reach out to the market. So
Welcome to Business on One. The Ministry of Health and Social Services Executive Director Ben Ngombe said they have allowed 20 medical specialists to work a certain number of hours for the government and at the same time operate their own private practices. Ngombe stated that this is in order to avoid doctors from leaving the country for greener pastures or better pay by private practices.
Ngombe added that hospital managers where specialists with private practices work ensure that they keep their end of the bargain in terms of working hours, noting that performance management systems have been introduced to verify that said specialists are fulfilling their contracts.
Medical specialists are in demand. Their incomes are not what the government can necessarily afford. The government, in its wisdom, initiated what was called the limited private practice. Limited private practice whereby a doctor who is employed by the state may work for a certain number of hours. You had what is called the 5/8, whereby that doctor would work for 5 hours for the state on a given day, or 3/8 or 2/8. This was done because we could have lost these medical specialists either to the private sector or to other countries. We are all aware of the phenomenon of what is known as brain drain, where medical professionals from developing countries such as Namibia would leave to go to other countries, either to England, to Canada, to America, to Australia, etc., etc. So in order to retain these doctors, and contracts were entered into with these medical specialists for them, while working for the state, they would also run their private practices on the basis of an agreed formula. So, on its part, also what the ministry has then done is to ensure that these doctors, the hospital managers, where these doctors are actually working, should ensure that they stick to their end of the bargain in terms of working for those hours for what they have signed up for.
Nangombe's response comes after Popular Democratic Movement leaders' allegations that there are 32 doctors allegedly earning free salaries as state doctors and specialists of key departments while running private practices and only showing up at state hospitals 2 times a week.
Let the Minister of Health deny that there are doctors that are not getting free money. If he does that, then I will put him to toe and toe and say, this doctor, tell me where's their offices in the ministry. All I'm trying to say is this. Because it's a contractual processes that I do not know. Our research could not get our hands on the real contracts between these doctors and the ministry. Because the ministry could have a grey area to say that, no, in terms of this contract, this is how this should apply. But the situation is so dire that even the doctors that are supposed to be supervised by these specialists are saying, they themselves are also complaining to us that my supervisor is who and who. This person gets a full salary from here, but this person never comes to work. So the minister must only say, the specialists that I have 10 specialists or I have 7 specialists, this is the contract, and according to the contract, they are doing their work. Then I can say, Mr. Minister, Dr. So-and-so never comes to work. Dr. So-and-so never comes to work.
And that is all we have for you. Be sure to follow us on our social media pages for more on business news.
It's the best and most entertaining evening show on radio. Adora and Ashorn on your inspiration station.
Your inspiration station. 99 FM.
This is VOA Tech.
The scary thing about traumatic brain injury is that brain cells don't grow back the same way skin cells would after a scrape. So often rehabilitation means retraining the brain to do mundane tasks.
All right, ready to make the transfer now?
Traumatic injury, when somebody, such as a car accident, where they're going forward, your brain is moving kind of like jello in there, and it's called coup contra coup, so bounces.
This is VOA Tech.
Now for a look at Comments Corner, your daily dose of comments from our social media pages. The mobile telecommunication company MTC has come out in defense of its collection of the fingerprint and facial biometric data during the ongoing SIM card registration. MTC said this is in line with local and international regulations. NAMSOL said MTC is a private company and not a government institution. Linje does not recall getting her fingerprints and facial biometric data taken when she registered. August will go for the next available mobile service operator. That is all from Comments Corner. Be sure to engage in our stories on our social media pages for broadcast on News on One.
You know, you're a young kid, right? For me, I started writing music when I was 9.
I don't like going into something. See, when I came in the music industry, I didn't want to lose.
And now, let's take a look at some sports news. Motorsport enthusiasts can look forward to a busy year filled with exciting motor racing events for different codes, specifically for classic cars. This is according to the chairperson of Windhoek Motor Club, Richard Slamet, in an exclusive interview with Sport on One.
The classic cars, we actually started this last year as a new code for our circuit racing, or a new class, I mean, for our circuit racing code. And the interest has actually sparked, and there's a lot of people interested, and I did not know there's so many people that have classic cars that actually want to take them out on the Tony Ross Raceway. So it's one of the classes that we're working on, and we're extending that. So for 2023, we will still be quite lenient when it comes to the rules, although there needs to be certain safety measures in place. And then we're working towards making it a full-on race class for 2024. But 2023 is still going to be very interesting, because there's quite a few guys that pulled out some nice old classic cars, but that are so well maintained. So it would be interesting to see who else comes to the party.
That's all the sports news we had for you. Please stay tuned for the weather forecast. We have come to the end of tonight's edition of News on One. Don't forget to follow us on our social media platforms. From me, Sean Marenga, and the rest of the team, it's good night.
The International University of Management, a Namibian university dedicated to its people's future. A hub of abundant opportunities.
We are IUM for life. We are IUM.
Jessica Lagranzi, Marketing Coordinator here for the Kostef Arts and Crafts Center in Swakopmund. We started our journey